Every museum has its own special story to tell. The setting for today's story is the Perugamon's Museum in Berlin, Germany. The museum houses a great altar from ancient Greece, originally built more than 2,000 years ago. A woman, her face broken off. A man, a serpent's tail caught around his legs, his hair in the grasp of the woman. An extremely peculiar situation. This is actually a scene from Greek mythology, the war between the gods and a race of giants. It is an altar frieze depicting a fierce battle. Marvelous sculpture that brings to mind the work of Michelangelo. The great altar over which this enormous spectacle unfolds is the star of our story today. Berlin, capital of Germany. Years after reunification, the city has brought architecture to a contemporary level, and the faces of its people are full of life. With its shiny glass dome, the home of the unified German parliament is a symbol of the new Berlin. Museum Island, one of Berlin's top tourist destinations and a designated World Heritage Site. 5 museums for art and history sit on this island in the middle of the Spree, the river that flows through the city. Among these buildings is the Perugamon's Museum. Let's go inside, shall we? This is the Middle East Museum, one of the 3 collections at the Perugamon's Museum. Of the many museums in Berlin, the Perugamon's Museum is the most popular. The Ishtar Gate originally stood in Babylon, the ancient capital of the Neo-Babylonian Empire from the 6th century BC. This reconstruction was built with vivid blue glazed tiles excavated from the ruins of the old capital city. The gorgeously ornate throne room wall. Lions, the symbol of Ishtar, goddess of ancient Mesopotamia, are arranged in a seemingly endless frieze. The glory of Babylon shines again in this exhibit. A room in the antiquity collection at the Perugamon's Museum. A tall beauty stands here. She has garnered the nickname, the Berlin Goddess. In her right hand, she holds a pomegranate, the symbol of Persephone, goddess of spring. The statue, which dates back to the 6th century BC, was discovered in the Attica region of Greece. This statue was discovered in southern Italy. The attractive features of this figure, seated casually on a throne, are representative of a goddess. decorative bodice, long, elegant curls, a refined hairstyle. Who would have guessed that we would find such a classical beauty within these museum walls? Sorry for the wait, but here we are at last, the main attraction. The Pergamon altar is amongst the world's largest reconstructions of ancient architecture. It is 9.6 meters high and 36.4 meters across, a great structure that overwhelms the room. The original frieze wrapped around the sides and back of the altar, but the museum's reproduction has placed the arrangement on the walls of this room. The frieze stretches 113 meters around. The frieze of a great altar. It depicts the war between the gods of Greek mythology and the giants. As the story goes, the giants rose up against Zeus, supreme god of ancient mythology, and the gods beat them down. Here we have Zeus's daughter Athena, goddess of wisdom and war, fighting a giant whose hair she grips in her hand. The pain shows in the contorted face of the lean young giant. It's unfortunate that Athena's face is gone. The woman with upraised arms is Gaia, goddess of the earth. She is the mother of this race and pleads for the life of the young giant. Giants, broken, lying defeated on the ground. They're shown as beasts with serpents' tails. But not all giants have given up. Biting, this one fights back with ferocious effort. A lion-faced giant tackles a god. They're positioned just like that of competitors in a wrestling match. The Pergamon altar, an ancient structure decorated with the dynamic scenes of a mythical battle. Aren't you curious to know where the altar was found? Bergamo, a small town in Turkey on the coast of the Aegean Sea. The altar was discovered here. Back in the 2nd century BC, this was the namesake of the kingdom of Pergamon, where magnificent structures such as temples and theaters once stood. Only ruins remain. And these ruins lay deep under dirt and rubble for centuries. The ruins of Pergamon were discovered by German engineer, architect, and archaeologist Karl Humann. He was in Turkey working on a road construction project when he came upon brick fragments. It was 1864.
Humann was working in Turkey and just happened to go to Bergamo. He came across the frieze on a hilltop. He had knowledge of archaeology and an interest in ancient ruins, so he immediately contacted a museum in Berlin. And that's when he realized that what he had discovered was quite probably a magnificent find.
Humann enthusiastically proposed excavation of the site, but Berlin kept him waiting 13 years for an answer. Finally, in 1877, the director of antique sculpture collection at the Berlin Museum noticed the fragment Humann had sent. The following year, with the consent of the Ottoman Empire, the museum at last sent a survey team to Turkey. Excavation started immediately, with Humann as field director. One after another, his team found pillars and reliefs. These were the ruins of Pergamon. In the 2nd century BC, the kingdom of Pergamon defeated the army of Galatia, which came from the north. Pergamon was at its zenith. The altar was likely built to pay homage to the gods in gratitude for victory against Galatia. Bergamo today. Remnants from the excavation are all that remain on top of the hill. Massive quantities of excavated marble pillars and statues were hauled by hand cars and oxen down to the port, then loaded onto frigates for the trip to Germany. Excavation of the Pergamon ruins was a national project executed on the authority of the German Empire. In the center of Berlin, the Victory Column soars 67 meters into the sky. It is a symbol of victories over Austria and France, which facilitated unification of the German state in 1871. Back then, Bismarck, first Chancellor of the German Empire, put a priority on cultural policy to put the empire on an equal footing with the great nations of that time. The acquisition of the altar was the best present the new Germany could have. Greifswald University in northern Germany. In 1880, 2 years after the official start of the excavation, Humann received an honorary doctor's degree from this university. The original honorary doctorate in philosophy is kept in the university archives. Humann, an ordinary road construction engineer, had become an instant somebody. In a thank you letter to the university, Humann wrote this: "I have had many surprises in my life, but nothing compares to the unanticipated delight of receiving an honorary degree. The excavation itself is still only at the first stage. The hard part is yet to come."
The hard part was what waited for the historians who received the objects from Pergamon. The Pergamon altar was an enormous ancient Greek structure. How on earth was it reconstructed? The ruins had given up several thousand pieces, pillars and lithographs, as well as the jumbled fragments of the marble frieze. Chipped faces, bodiless hands and feet. How are all these parts going to be matched up and arranged in the frieze? Reconstructing the altar was a major challenge, like a jigsaw puzzle of mammoth proportions. A big hint came from some Greek letters still visible under the eaves. This says Hercules. This one says Ares. They are the names of Greek gods. Here we can make out the letters of Athena's name. She was one of Zeus's daughters and goddess of wisdom and war. So which marble goddess should be placed under the name Athena? Several clues were available from existing images of ancient Greek gods. Athena, goddess of war, is frequently depicted wearing a goatskin breastplate. This is the protector. Athena was put here. Zeus should be nearby. Zeus reigned supreme among all the Greek gods. He was typically represented as a muscular man in his prime with a majestic presence. And often he would be holding a weapon shaped like a thunderbolt. He seems ready to throw that weapon now. This is where Zeus and Athena were positioned. The giants that these two gods were fighting were put into place, creating this scene. On to the next scene. A youthful god is stepping on a fallen giant. Who could this god be? The strap across his chest is part of a quiver of arrows he carries on his back. A bow and arrow is commonly associated with Apollo, god of archery. So this young man is Zeus's son, Apollo. In the center, here, a woman is frozen in the pose of a sure-footed runner. She has her hair in a ponytail. She wears a short skirt and laced-up boots. She is the goddess of hunting, Artemis. Artemis and Apollo are also children of Zeus. They are twins. So then, the woman in the middle must be the goddess Leto, their mother. She rounds out the picture of Zeus's whole family. What was the rationale behind placements on the corners of the altar where the two services connect? Let's take a look at a model of the altar to find out. On the left side, though faint, the letters indicate Poseidon, god of the sea. And on the right side, here is Triton, Poseidon's son. The two panels show a family connection. The marble pieces of a jigsaw puzzle. Deductive reasoning, based on the family connections among the gods, as well as academic research, provided the necessary clues to pursue reconstruction. But it was a time-consuming effort. The altar took 23 years to complete.
This drama runs uninterrupted across 113 meters of wall space. It's so alive, really impressive. If you get right up, close to the relief, you realize that the ancient sculptors were truly passionate about their work. It is evident in the detail of the footwear and the clothing, in the headgear and in the weapons. During reconstruction, some of the people involved said the work was comparable to the masterpieces of Michelangelo. It was that wonderful.
Boots and sandals, so detailed you wouldn't think they're made of marble. Folds in the long dress of thick fabric evoke the graceful movement of a goddess. But even the goddesses fought with courage. This goddess's presence is so real, you might expect her to jump right out of the picture. The dedication and expert skills of the sculptors who came from all over Greece to work on this frieze is obvious. This is most certainly a masterpiece of ancient Greek sculpture. The Pergamon Museum opened in Berlin in 1930. Just 3 years later, the Nazi Party, led by Adolf Hitler, came to power. In 1939, World War II began. While museums in Berlin sent many objects of art away from the city, the Pergamon altar was too cumbersome to move. A major effort was made to protect the monument with sandbags and dirt. The Berlin airstrike. Many museums were destroyed. The Pergamon Museum sustained comparatively little damage. It still stood. But as you can see, it was a mess.
A bomb made a big hole in the front of the altar, and the floor broke apart and fell down. We had to pick our way carefully, lest we fall through to the floor below. It was such a hopeless situation. Difficulties continued to plague the museum. Finally, in 1958, items taken by the Soviet Union after the war were returned. And in 1959, the museum opened again in its old form.
If you visit the Pergamon Museum in Berlin, stop for a while in this huge room. Nearly lost to memory but reconstructed, then damaged by modern war but surviving, the Pergamon altar has transcended time and space to tell a story, a romanticized account of an ancient people.